Today I'm going to talk about how I went from an 18-year-old kid that got into real estate, dropped out of school, just wanted to become successful, but had no idea how, but knew that there was a way to make money in real estate. And how I went from 18 broke, just wanting to be able to help my family to be able to make 2.5 million by 19 years old in real estate sales. Before I get into that, I'm going to break down exactly what I did. You guys can literally copy me, but I want to talk a little bit about the whole story and how it kind of starts. So back when I was 18 years old, I was at university to become a lawyer. And to be honest, if I look back at it and kind of reflect at that time, the true reason I wanted to become a lawyer was because I looked at three professions. Being Indian, it's, doctor, lawyer, engineer, stuff like that. And I'm like, all of them make pretty good money. Doctor, engineer is going to be too hard for me. I could become a lawyer. And, I get into school. I believe in God a lot, so I believe, things happen for a reason. But within a couple of weeks, that school goes on strike. And during that time, I had 3 to 4 months off. And to be honest, I just started to look at people that were successful, and I realized there was a lot of people in real estate. And this is back in 2010 now, right? I realized there was a lot of people in my market. I'm from Toronto, I'm from Canada, and there was a lot of people in real estate making a lot of money. So I decided to get my real estate license. And I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be easy. I really did. I thought it was going to be easy. It was not easy. The first 6 months, brutal. No wins, no deals, showing people properties, doing all the typical stuff that you're told to do. Host open houses, build a list, all those type of things. 0 transactions. And I'll be honest, I almost did quit. I was very close to quitting, but I happened to meet my first mentor back then that totally, completely changed my mindset on real estate. And literally a year later, I made $2.5 million. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. How did that transition happen? See, the first thing my mentor said to me, Bikram, he goes, yo, what's your goal? And I said, yeah, I want to make 100 grand a year. I want to make 6 figures, because for me, that was a lot of money. Like, look, I didn't come from a family that made a lot of money. There was no millionaires in my family. So it's, I didn't even think about $1 million, to be honest. To hit 6 figures a year was huge, right? It was like winning the lotto. And when I told him 6 figures a year, he looked at me, he goes, come on, man. He was 100 grand. Yeah, he goes, it's nothing. And he literally looked at me, he goes, you're thinking too small. And I'm 18 years old here, never made money, right? I don't have anybody in my family that's making that type of money. And he's looking at me saying that you're thinking too small. And I look back at it. So the number one thing that he did for me right there was mindset shift. He made me realize that I had a limiting belief. And he goes, Bick, you got to think about at least 1 mil a year. I'm like, $1 million bucks. I mean, I couldn't even comprehend it. To be honest with you guys, I never even thought $1 million was possible. And he told me, you got to be able to reverse engineer. And he asked me a simple question. Is there not people that are making $1 million a year selling real estate? I'm like, yeah, absolutely there are. So he's like, why can't you do it? And it kind of really made me think. And he goes, there's no reason you can't do it. It might take some time, for sure. You got to develop the skills. You got to develop the mindset. You got to develop the confidence. You got to develop the knowledge. You got to transform and become a different person. But can you do it? Absolutely, yes. So he was able to break down that to me, which completely changed my mind. And he literally took that $1 million goal, and he said how many transactions you got to do a year to how many transactions you got to do a month, and focus on what you got to do every week in order to close a monthly goal, and you're going to hit that $1 million. Long story short, that literally changed my life right there. But another big thing that he told me was, listen, he goes, Bick, you're focusing heavily on what every typical realtor does. So if you're going to focus on what typical realtors do, you're going to get the results that typical realtors get. You got to be able to find a niche in the marketplace. You got to be able to become specialized in something. And I still remember him saying one thing. He goes, listen, there's 2 types of doctors. There's a general doctor and there's a specialist. Who makes more money? A specialist. So he goes, you got to be able to specialize in real estate. What do you want to specialize on? And at that time, Toronto did not really know what a pre-construction market was. And what I mean by that is most agents had no idea what pre-construction was. And he introduced me to pre-construction. And pre-construction is essentially new homes and new condos before they get built. But 14 years ago, this market did not exist. Long story short, you're able to see a market before a market takes off. Okay, that's key number 1. Most won't see it. I actually remember a lot of agents, a lot of people that were already successful in my area that are like, don't do that. Just stick to regular resale. Don't do this type of stuff. It's not really going to work out. And here's the lesson with that. Sometimes just because other people don't see it okay, that doesn't mean it does not work. And that doesn't mean that you cannot become successful at it. And the key is this: if people don't see it, if most don't see it and you see it, that right there is going to give you an edge, because now you're going to be able to have first mover's advantage. So long story short, got into pre-construction. And at that point, I realized I was going to focus on one niche, which was pre-construction. I didn't become a general realtor. I became specialized on pre-con. Number two, I became specialized on dealing with investors that wanted to buy properties as investment real estate. You know, instead of putting money in the bank and stocks and mutual funds and stuff like that, wanted to put money into real estate where they could build a portfolio. So I became very much educated on that and understanding how real estate provided a great return on your investment if bought right. You know, if the cash flow was there, if you were buying below replacement value, stuff like that, right? But this is all the stuff that I'm going to get to. You got to be able to build the knowledge. So what I mean by that is I remember taking time out daily, right? Daily, to understand resale values in certain neighborhoods, understanding why one street sold for more, one street sold for less, why the rent was higher here, lower here, what new builds were coming, which land was being sold, which developer was buying properties in that area, because what that did was it gave me knowledge. So when I was able to talk to someone, I was able to explain and paint a vision with such knowledge that the typical person just wouldn't have. And the reason why I did that is because I realized that if you have more knowledge, and you're able to communicate that, regardless of your age, regardless of, you know, you being new in the game or not, that right there is going to put you in a position that shows you as way more capable, number one, confident and knowledgeable than, you know, most realtors out there. And I'm not trying to talk shit, guys. All I'm trying to tell you is this is what I did and this is what helped me become successful. And literally, this is exactly what you can do. So once I understood that, number three, I realized that regardless of where I went, okay, if it was out and about, wherever it was, I was going to talk about what I had to offer. And what that means is I see too many people now that might be in a certain industry or business, but are like a secret. And what I mean by that is they're not even talking about what they actually do until somebody asks them. And the thing is, sometimes people are not going to ask you, right? So you got to be able to step outside your comfort zone and just start talking about what you do. And how I did that was through storytelling. I was always painting a vision of what Toronto was going to become, number one, but what a certain project was going to bring to a neighborhood, and how if you invest before that area takes off, the benefits that you would have. And really what that was showing somebody what first mover's advantage really means when it comes to real estate. So when you take those three things, and you have a mentor that's actually done what you want to do, you take action on the things that they're telling you to do, because essentially they're giving you a blueprint on how to get there, and you have relentless work ethic. You put in the work. You don't take your foot off the gas. All right? Don't focus on the money. The money will come. And what I mean by that is, I had some friends that started off with me. The first thing they would start to do is start counting their commission checks. And, you know, that's probably one of the worst things that you could do, because as you start to count your commission checks, sometimes you might become lazy, comfortable, content because you think this money's coming in, okay? You want to have this type of mindset of starting with zero every single day. And what that does, it just keeps the drive alive. But beyond that, you're not really there focusing on the dollar. You're more focused on the game of getting great at what you're doing more deals, and essentially, when you focus on that, you're gonna end up making more money than you guys really think that you're gonna make. And this is kind of what happened to me. See, meeting my first mentor was a game changer. They didn't just teach me the business. They completely flipped my mindset. It showed me the only thing that was gonna hold me back was me. The only thing standing in my way was essentially me. And that's when I realized the power of your mindset. I'll be honest with you guys. You guys probably heard about these things or not, but they actually work. When you dial in on your goals, when you dial in on your whys, you know, the dreams, the vision that you actually want to create, the reality. Like, I'm sitting in this Rolls Royce right now, and when I was 18, 19 years old, I used to dream about these things. And this is my second Rolls Royce. It ain't my first one, right? But I used to dream about it. And I'll be honest with you, you got to believe that you can get it before you actually can get it, because you got to see it here. before you actually get in real life. And my mentor taught me these things. I wasn't raised to think this way, to be honest with you. I didn't come across people in my circle that would think like this. That's why having the right environment is going to make a big difference in your success. Surrounding yourself with the right people. Your environment, you got to protect it. If you truly want to become successful, protect the energy that's around you. And these are some of the things that I learned from my mentor. Like I'm telling you guys, it wasn't just about the business. We all know how to do real estate deals and stuff like that. But why do some people become extremely successful at it and most stay average? In Toronto, to be honest, the stat is 80% of realtors will do less than 3 deals a year. Why is that? At 22 years old, guys, I was doing over 400 deals a year for 10 years straight. That's over 4,000 transactions. What was the difference? There was a few things. It was having the right environment, understanding a niche and becoming extremely knowledgeable at it, building relationships. Okay, relationships are key, but focusing on investors. And, really, all you guys got to do is just copy what I'm telling you guys, take it to your marketplace, wherever you are in the world. And if you could focus on these things with consistency, have a long-term vision. And what I mean by that is play the game long enough to win the game. It might not happen overnight, okay? But are you going to be more ahead a year from now if you stay consistent than where you are right now? Absolutely you will, but you got to be able to have delayed gratification. We have big goals, we got big dreams, and we want all these things. However, delayed gratification is part of the game. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's going to happen overnight. However, if you stay consistent, it's happening. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's going to happen and you're going to win big. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. The keys to winning when it comes to your business, when it comes to sales, and me, I could talk a lot about real estate because I've sold over $1 billion of real estate pretty much without a team, okay? The key to winning, to be honest, there's a few keys, but one of the things that's really helped me throughout all those years is having a strategy in place on how to be able to do multiple deals a month without you having to go out and chase people. And what I mean by that is you got to become really good at attraction marketing, right? And what my type of marketing was I was focused on certain projects for investments, but I would be so niched at it where I would not have much competition because the deals that I would bring to the table, the general realtor could not bring to the table. And that's something we could talk about a little bit more detail, but this was something that I learned from my mentor. Have something to offer in the marketplace that is not easily there. And what that does, that's going to cut out half of your competition because now you have something of value. You have something that the average person just can't bring to the table. And when you have something of value, you're of value. And what that simply means is that you're going to do more deals. More deals is more commission. That is honestly how I went from 18, struggling for 6 months, doing no deals, almost quitting real estate, almost going back to school, starting to tell myself all the negative bullshit that, this is not for me, real estate's tough, real estate's hard, all that type of stuff. Because the negativity will start to creep in. But meeting my first mentor completely shifted my mindset. And a year later, literally 1 year later, made over $2.5 million. Right? So if I can do it, you can absolutely do it. And I'll be honest, I'm going to talk about it in way more detail. I'm going to drop more YouTubes, all that type of stuff. But I'm also going to be dropping an inner circle mastermind where you're going to work directly one-on-one with me. And I'll be honest, it's not going to be for everyone. It's not cheap. It's going to be expensive. But I'll work one-on-one with you to get you to the next level. And you also got to be committed. Because at the end of the day, I always say this analogy. You can have a personal trainer that can tell you what to do, what to eat, what not to eat. But at the end of the day, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. But if you have someone that can show you exactly what to do, guess what? You're going to get there much faster. Right? So I'll be opening that up. There's a type form literally right down here. Click the link, go through it. And if you qualify, we'll reach out to you. But really what it's going to be a one-on-one working directly with me, not with somebody else. You're going to be working directly with me to get you to the next level of your dreams and goals. And whatever that is, because it goes back to what you believe is possible for you. So if you think that you can go big, well, guess what? You're going to go big. You're just going to have to know what to focus on, what not to focus on.